Why were thousands of people forced to leave the place they called home? As I continue my journey around the entire coast of mainland Scotland, I'm heading deeper into the Highlands and into a chapter of Scottish history that still casts a long shadow today. From ancient cathedrals and castles to remote coastal villages, wildlife rescues, and some of the most breathtaking landscapes I've seen so far. This part of the journey is about far more than the places themselves. It's about the people who once lived here, the communities they built, and the stories the Highlands will never forget. Oh, what a morning here up at Tarbet Ness Lighthouse. As you can see, I did just have a wee shower on the grass outside the van there just to freshen up. Sorry, I know the engine's running as well, you can probably hear it, but I like to have the engine running when I'm doing that just because the electric boiler that I've got under the sink it has a hell of a power draw. And it can use like, you know, anywhere from 20 to 30% of the power station sort of battery. It really is a lot. It's like 1200 watts or something. I always have the engine running just so it keeps charging my power station at the same time and I don't lose too much because I'm using that power station for my Starlink, which I've put on my roof now as well instead of in my windscreen. Just stuck it up there. But yeah, it's a nice wee spot just out on the grass. All I would say, if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have a shower outside in nature, just make sure you're using natural soap. That's what I do. Fully natural, nothing that's gonna harm the environment or anything like that. And it works fine. It's a lot easier than turning my box seat into my shower and everything with a shower curtain. And when you wake up on a day like this, it's just absolutely perfect. And what I'm going to do, I think it's such a nice day, I'm going to throw the drone up, get some nice shots of this lighthouse and tell you a little bit more about it. But then I'm going to make up some breakfast. I reckon. I think I'll use some of that bacon that I got from the Dalmore farm and the duck eggs, and also the black pudding that I got from Serhad at Scran, the chippy. He gets it from the butchers in Dingwall, Coburns. It's meant to be delicious, so I think I'll have that for breakfast before I head further. Well, I'm going to be leaving this peninsula ultimately and heading, you know, towards Tain and then up towards Dornoch and all the rest of it. So I'm looking forward to what lies ahead. What a start! What a beautiful day. Oh man, this looks great, and that yolk, oh, beautiful. Let's get a wee taste. Just this egg on its own. Can't remember ever having duck eggs before. They're really rich in flavour, really rich. I'm looking forward to this bacon. It's quite thick as well, which I like. Delicious. Time for the Coburn's black pudding. See what we're talking about here. That is nice. There's almost I don't know what it is. There's almost a sweetness to it. Yeah, there's almost like a sweetness to it. It's really nice, really tasty. It's definitely different. It's different from a Stornoway black pudding or from other black. There's a sweetness. I can't really put my finger on it. Anyway, it's going to be good to get some in my belly. We've got a long day ahead. There's something special about waking up in places like this. Surrounded by the sea, with Tarbet Ness Lighthouse standing watch over the coastline, it's easy to see why I keep being drawn back to the quieter corners of Scotland. Designed by Robert Stevenson and first lit in 1830, this striking red and white tower is the tallest lighthouse on mainland Scotland, guiding ships safely past these shores for almost 2 centuries. But with breakfast finished and the van packed up, it's time to continue north and see what the next chapter of this journey has in store. Stunning clouds up there. Looks great. I'm driving to Tain now. Just driving through Tain. Pretty much, although I'm gonna sort of stop one place. I saw an article, not last night but the night before, online about this new £1.8 million sort of community hub innovation centre that has been built in Tain at the moment. And it's relevant to those of you watching that have motorhomes and camper vans and stuff, because they have facilities and that there, and there's a cafe on site, etc. I think it's just opened. Now I did email, I can't remember what the email address was, who it was to, but I emailed them yesterday. It was an email address I got online, but they've not seen it yet. I mean, it might not even be a current email. It could have gone in their spam folder, I don't know. I only sent it yesterday to see if I could get a word with someone, because I'd quite like to go and speak to someone there about it, you know, like the centre manager or whatever, to tell everyone a little bit more about it, because it sounds really, really interesting. It's almost like a vocational hub, in the sense that they're taking young people and basically giving them vocational skills and helping them get through like apprenticeships and different things like that, to try and tackle the problem of youth migration. Because like many places in the Highlands now, there is an issue in Easter Ross with regards to young adults basically moving away from the area to go and seek opportunities elsewhere. Now, whether that's in the Central Belt or even, you know, further down south or whatever in London, that's what they're doing. And it's a problem we have throughout the Highlands, because the opportunities often just aren't there for them in many respects, which is why, I mean, ultimately, like 85% of Scotland's population live in the Central Belt, in that little strip in that Central Belt area. That's where, you know, a huge portion of our population lives. And, you know, ultimately it's down to opportunity, isn't it, really? I think outside of Scotland, the city with the most born and bred Scots living in it is London as well. And again, you know, it's opportunities that come with staying in places like that. And I think that it is an issue in the Highlands, you know, and there has, I mean, it's not just the Highlands as well. I mean, if you look at even like Lewis and Harris, I'm sure when I was there, because it surprised me at the time to learn that there's less people living in Lewis and Harris now than there was after World War II. And considering how many men in particular lost their lives in World War II from Lewis and Harris, it was devastating. And then of course you had that, like the Isle Air disaster and everything as well. That was World War I though, wasn't it? But yeah, so it is an issue kind of all over the Highlands and the Islands. And I also hear a lot about difficulties like shops and restaurants and things like that have in the Highlands getting staff, because previously your local families, their children, when they turned, you know, 15 or whatever, they would be the ones serving food and you know, working in local shops, you know, over the summer holidays to make money and all that kind of stuff. And that just kind of isn't there anymore. Those children aren't there, those families aren't there. A lot of the small sort of towns and villages and stuff like that, a lot of the properties are holiday homes, like what we've seen in Pennin and Crivey on the Aberdeenshire coast. Beautiful places. 95% of them, of the properties there now, are holiday homes. You don't have that sort of conveyor belt of, you know, families and things like that. They struggle to get, you know, people to serve, chefs, things of that nature, to come and live in such remote sort of places, you know. Anyway, this is us just coming into Tain. I always like this little view of the town here you get when you're coming in. And see these brown signs you see here with the Pictish symbol on them, just to my left. Whenever you see those signs, basically it indicates that you're on a Pictish trail. You get them everywhere, all over, especially on the east coast of Scotland. There's Pictish trails kind of all over Angus, Aberdeenshire, and obviously up here there's a huge amount. But whenever you see them, you know there's Pictish stones or something nearby. I always like the buildings here in Tain. When you come in, you've got the spires and stuff like that. It's just a bonny place. Now, before I continue north, I wanted to give a wee mention to this place here in Tain. This is the Grow For You Community Innovation Campus, and it's not just another stop on the NC 500. It's a community project focused on creating apprenticeships, training opportunities, and developing new skills for local people right here in Tain. They've also developed facilities for camper vans and motorhomes passing through the area, including waste disposal and EV charging. Couple that with a cafe, it's a great wee stop if you're on the NC 500. And maybe this is the best part, the money generated here is being reinvested back into the local community and future generations. For me, when I think of Tain, I think of Glenmorangie whisky. Founded in 1843 on the site of a former brewery, what began as a small Highland distillery has grown into one of Scotland's most recognised whisky brands, producing millions of bottles each year and exporting them to over 100 countries around the world. But with the copper stills of Tain now behind me, it's time to continue north, crossing the beautiful Dornoch Firth. My next stop, the historic town of Dornoch itself. Right, so we're just driving into Dornoch now, and I seen a sign there about the pipe bands. They play every Saturday night, I think, at 8 o'clock at night. There's a pipe band plays in Dornoch. And someone had sent me a message or commented, apologies, I can't remember your name off the top of my head, it's just popped into my head there, but I believe they're celebrating the 100th year of playing weekly, basically, the pipe band, which is just lovely. So if ever up this way on a Saturday, you'll be treated to a pipe band in Dornoch, and you have been for 100 years. Quite incredible. I love just little interesting facts about places like that. Unfortunately, it's not a Saturday, it's the middle of the week here, so I'm not going to get a chance to see it, but hopefully next time. I'll get parked somewhere. I'll be back in a sec. What are the chances of that? I arrive in Dornoch and Eric Nimmons from Seafield Game, who I got my venison off in the last episodes here, and I did see signs for a Dornoch Community Market on Wednesday, so that's today. So Yeah, I'm not going to see the pipers, but I'm going to check out the market. One of the nice surprises about arriving in Dornoch today was stumbling across this wee community market. Local producers, craftspeople and small businesses gather here every second Wednesday, creating a real sense of community in the heart of the town. But while the market was a welcome discovery, it was the building standing beside it that had drawn me here in the first place, Dornoch Cathedral. Founded in 1224, Dornoch Cathedral has stood at the heart of this community for more than 800 years, making it one of the oldest buildings I've visited on this journey so far. The cathedral was established by Gilbert de Moravia, later known as Saint Gilbert of Dornoch, who became the last Scottish saint to be formally recognised before the Reformation. Over the centuries, the building has witnessed wars, religious upheaval and dramatic changes across the Highlands. In 1570 it was damaged during a clan feud involving the Mackays and Murrays, before later being restored to much of the form we see today. Inside the cathedral is surprisingly bright and welcoming, with beautiful stained glass windows, intricate stonework and a sense of peace that's difficult to put into words. And while this building has stood through centuries of Highland history, many of the communities that once worshipped here would later experience profound change during the Highland Clearances. A story that becomes increasingly difficult to ignore, as you'll see throughout this episode, as I continue deeper into Sutherland. Well, it's some place, isn't it? 800 years old, just over. Founded in 1224. Quite incredible. It is beautiful. And I've picked a great day for being here. Obviously you've got this market out in front as well. And then in behind you can see that building there. I've been told that that was the old prison as well. But there's an interesting link with this church and that market that we see. A local was just telling me the last witch in Scotland was murdered here, and there's a witch's stone somewhere down near the beach, I think, area. But I believe she actually had a stall at the market here and she used to sell ale from it. She was a widow, she was doing well for herself, was selling ale, and the church weren't having that and needed to get rid of her, essentially, and was branded a witch and killed. But I believe that was the last witch sort of hunt killing in Scotland. That's what I've been told anyway, by someone that's read a book about it from this area. A fascinating history and story. There is an RAF jet in the clouds there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it with this camera. You always hear them and they're way well past, so I was quite lucky to catch a glimpse of it there. But what a beautiful church. It really is. It's just a really bonny place, Dornoch, and really famous as well. When I think Dornoch, I think golf course, because it's got one of the best golf courses in Scotland. I've not had the opportunity to play it, unfortunately. My dad and my brother both have, and they said it's fantastic. Now, I'm just looking across the graveyard here, and this is actually my next stop. I've been told by loads of you, if I'm in Dornoch, I need to come to this little cafe called Milk and Honey. So I'm here today. Let's go and check it out. Hello, hello, how are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm good, I'm good.
Just for yourself?
Yes. Right, now since I've had my breakfast, I ended up just getting a wee cake. It's like a dark chocolate and ginger. that. That is delicious. I decided on a wee chai latte as well, rather than a coffee. If you get a proper chai, you can't beat it, and that is a proper chai. Oh, what a lovely wee place that was, and the staff were so friendly, and the owner, Alicia, lovely woman, she gave me this little box to take away with me, and inside it is her signature carrot cake. Now, carrot cake's actually my favourite type of cake, but that dark chocolate and ginger tray bake just looked perfect for me, especially after having my big breakfast this morning in the van. But I'm going to have that later, and apparently a carrot cake is to die for, so I'll need to leave space the rest of the day for this cake, definitely. And it should be alright. So I've just come to drop that in the van, and then next up I'm just going to take a walk along the front to the beach. Beautiful beach here in Dornoch down by the golf course, and I'm going to try and find this witch's stone as well. On my way to Dornoch Beach, I stumbled across this small hamlet called Littletown. During the Highland Clearances, families evicted from their homes came here seeking shelter, first living in simple turf huts, before building the cottages that would eventually form this settlement. The clearances weren't just stories, they happened to real people in real places like this. And just at the other end of this hamlet sits the Witch's Stone. It's difficult to imagine now, but in 1727, fear and superstition cost a woman her life. Janet Horn was accused of witchcraft after neighbours claimed she had used magic to turn her daughter into the devil's pony. Found guilty, she was stripped, covered in tar, and rolled through Dornoch in a barrel before being burned to death here. She became the last recorded victim of Scotland's witch trials, a grim reminder of what can happen when fear, superstition, and religion replaces reason. And thankfully, not every story in Dornoch is quite so dark. Just beyond the town lies a very different side to this corner of the Highlands. With miles of golden sand stretching along the coast and views across the Dornoch Firth, it's easy to see why this has become one of the most popular destinations in the Highlands. The town itself may be small, but it's known around the world thanks to the Royal Dornoch, one of the highest ranked golf courses on the planet. Yet for me, the real appeal is the balance it strikes between history, nature, and community. Even on the shoreline, life is everywhere. These moon jellyfish may look delicate, but they're stingy wee buggers. And now this beach is pretty special, but apparently there's an even better one just round the corner at Embo. Since I'm heading north anyway, it'd be rude not to go and have a wee look.
Look at this! Actual hailstones as well. I mean, look, it looks beautiful out front. I think this is just going to pass in a few minutes, to be honest. Wee car park there.
As you can see, the heavens have absolutely opened up. I've got hail, rain, everything. I think I'll have to just give this a wee miss on this occasion. Oh my goodness. We'll just go for a wee drive through Embo. And it was a beach again, and I'm not going to be going for a cold dip, but I just wanted to get my drone in the air just to have a look at it from the sky. Well, the weather had other ideas for Embo. With the rain and hail now hammering against the windscreen, I decided to keep moving north and find somewhere to settle down for the night. Thankfully, Loch was only a short drive away.
Well, this really is a stunning wee spot. It's a perfect place just to relax and get some editing done. And this is also the kind of place where data is only like 4G. I'm not getting any 5G here. And when you shut the doors in the van, it'll be pretty poor. So this is where the Starlink on the roof just comes in so handy. So huge big thank you to everyone that has bought me a Guinness on my Buy Me a Coffee page in recent weeks and months. Over the last sort of 9-10 months, I've managed to get a new camera, a new drone, which I still can't fly yet. And you know, the Starlink, you know, everything, all those contributions always go back into the creation of this content for you all to enjoy. So I can't thank you enough for it, especially with the Starlink now. It's going to make life so much easier for uploading every single week 4K footage that's, you know, pretty much usually around about 45 minutes to an hour long. It's going to make life so much easier for me. So no, I honestly really appreciate it, and all the contributions that I get every month, all of that's going towards the monthly cost, which is about £100 a month for the Starlink, so £1,200 over the course of the year. So all of it goes back into that, or my software that I use is £25 a month. My my subscription to Epidemic Sound, I think it's around about £20 a month. That's where I get all my music and everything from, so I don't break copyright laws. All of those kind of costs, hidden costs, are in there, and I use those Buy Me a Coffee donations, or Buy Me a Guinness donations, to go towards all of that stuff. It just really helps me out massively. So honestly, thank you so much, and I hope you're enjoying watching this episode. If you're new here, if you are, please remember to hit the subscribe button. It is completely free to do so, and the more subscribers that I have, the more chance I have of YouTube showing this video and others that I create to a wider audience. I really appreciate it. But anyway, I'm going to get stuck into my editing, then I'm going to get settled in, get a nice early night. We've got a big day tomorrow. You can see here I'm not the only one enjoying the sun today. You can see the seals basking on the sandbanks kind of all around. I'll see if I can zoom in on my phone and show you. Okay, let's zoom in here. You see them there? Just sitting sunbathing. There's a few more around this side. Once I get there, eventually. There we are. Try and zoom in again a bit more. There's loads on that side. Look at that. I hope you can see them. It's quite far away. Now, as I enjoy my morning coffee, I'm going to tell you a wee bit about the castle I can see right next to me. Perched above the shores of Loch are the ruins of Skelbo Castle, a fortress that has watched over this landscape for more than 700 years. Originally built in the 13th century by the Sutherlands, the castle later became caught up in clan rivalries and centuries of Highland history before eventually falling into ruin. Today, its crumbling walls overlook one of Scotland's most important nature reserves, creating a striking contrast between the turbulent past and the peaceful scene that surrounds it now. As I continue north through Sutherland, there's one place that appears in almost every Highland guidebook. A place that's become one of the most photographed landmarks anywhere in the north of Scotland. With its grand towers, formal gardens and spectacular setting overlooking the Moray Firth, Dunrobin is often described as one of Scotland's most beautiful castles. But beauty can sometimes hide a darker story, and few places in Scotland tell that story more powerfully than at Dunrobin. Rising above the Moray Firth, Dunrobin Castle is one of Scotland's most recognisable landmarks. With its towering spires, formal gardens and grand architecture, it's often compared to a French chateau or even a Disney princess castle. And it's easy to see why. This is the largest house in the Northern Highlands, with almost 200 rooms and a history stretching back more than 700 years. The castle has been the ancestral seat of the Earls and later Dukes of Sutherland since the 13th century. Over the centuries it evolved from a medieval fortress into the grand estate we see today, reflecting the immense wealth and influence of one of Scotland's most powerful landowning families. But while Dunrobin is undoubtedly beautiful, its story cannot be separated from the history of the land around it. By the late 18th century, the Sutherland estate controlled vast areas of the Highlands. Thousands of Gaelic-speaking Highlanders lived across the glens and straths, farming small plots of land, raising livestock, and living in communities that had existed for generations. Then came a period of enormous change. Across Britain, landowners were looking for ways to increase profits from their estates. New agricultural ideas promised greater returns, and nowhere would those ideas have a more dramatic impact than here in Sutherland. At the centre of this transformation was Elizabeth Gordon, the Countess of Sutherland, and her husband George Levison Gower, who later became the first Duke of Sutherland. To help carry out their vision, they employed advisors including Patrick Sellar and William Young. Together they oversaw a programme that would transform the Highlands forever. The plan was simple. The people would go, the sheep would stay. Across the glens, families were informed they would have to leave their land their ancestors had occupied for centuries. Entire communities faced removal. Homes were dismantled, roofs pulled down, and settlements erased from the landscape. For the people living through it, this wasn't an economic theory or an agricultural experiment. It was home. It was family. It was their identity. Many of those being removed spoke only Gaelic. Their connection to the land wasn't measured in ownership deeds or estate accounts, but through generations of memory, tradition, and belonging. Accounts from the period describe elderly residents being carried from their homes, families watching roof timbers collapse around them, and entire settlements disappearing within a matter of days. Houses were often dismantled or burned to prevent people returning. For many Highlanders, the clearances weren't simply about losing a house, they meant losing an entire way of life. Some were relocated to small crofting communities along the coast where survival was often difficult. Others left Scotland altogether, boarding ships bound for Canada, the US, Australia, New Zealand, and other faraway lands. Many would never see their homeland again. By the time the major clearances in Sutherland had ran their course, around 15,000 people had been displaced from the estate. Supporters argued the changes brought economic progress and modernisation, but critics saw something very different. They saw one of the greatest social upheavals in Scottish history. Today, visitors come to Dunrobin to admire the castle, explore the gardens, and watch birds of prey soar above the grounds. But for many people, particularly those with ancestors that once lived in these glens, this place represents something far more complicated. A place of extraordinary beauty, and a place forever linked to extraordinary loss. Whatever view you take of the people who lived here, few would deny that the decisions made from this estate changed the Highlands forever. Some families crossed oceans in search of a new life. Others were moved to the coast, where conditions would be harsh and survival uncertain. And as I continue north through Sutherland during this episode, I'll begin to discover what happened to some of those people after they left the glens behind. Well, it's something else, isn't it? It's a beautiful castle. It's so well kept and maintained, and the grounds. It's got some history to it, doesn't it? And I mean, I'm no historian. There'll be a lot more to tell, certainly. It's a busy place, as you can see. and it's no surprise, but I'm really glad I came back here again. I think this is about the 4th time I've been to this castle, but I've never seen the falconry show, and it was superb, so I really enjoyed it. It is getting a bit later in the afternoon now, 3:30 or so at the moment, so I'm gonna get parked and make my way up Ben Bhraggie and do the loop walk up there, go and see the Duke of Sutherland monument. Never done it before. See how I feel once I get up there, and loop back around via the Gorge. That's the plan anyway. So stick with me, because if the weather holds out, we should get some views up there. You can actually see it up on that hill there. That's where we're going. So this has just come past like the houses and stuff like that, and this is really the first time where you're sort of going up. Now I have heard that this is quite a steep pull up to Ben Bhraggie and the monument, which is going to be a nice little test for me because I haven't really done any hiking. Like I said in my previous episode, like when I went up Firish and all that kind of stuff, just baby steps, just get myself back into walking, because as I go around the northwest, down the west, there's so much hiking to be had, and I plan on doing a lot of it when I'm coming down the west coast and northwest Highlands and further south as well. I'm going to be doing quite a lot of hiking because I haven't really done any for over a year now. This is kind of where like the trails split off. You'll see here there's mountain bike trails and Big Burn Link Trail. There's loads of different trails up here. Some of the best mountain biking trails in the Highlands are right here apparently. I'm going to do my best to try and stick to the walking path where possible. God, you can really see the views opening up here now, and there is actually a little sort of stop point under cover down there, so you can get a breather before continuing up the hill, which is quite handy. And it looks like there's a bit of a footbridge to go up there, like almost like a viewing platform. And that is the rain starting. It is spitting right now, but it might well get to the point soon that I'm going to have to get my waterproof jacket on, try and keep my microphone and other bits and pieces dry. Anyway, we crack on. Right, so when you come over that hill, you can see it there behind me. Extremely controversial figure and monument in these parts. Now, the views back the way are incredible. I'm not going to show you them yet. Let's have a look at them once we get to the top and discuss just why it's so controversial. Known locally as the Manny, this towering statue was erected in 1837 in honour of George Levison Gower, the first Duke of Sutherland. At over 100 feet tall, the monument can be seen for miles across the surrounding landscape, looking out over the very lands that were transformed during the Highland Clearances. For some, the Duke was a visionary, a man who modernised the economy, improved infrastructure and helped bring investment to the north of Scotland during a period of enormous change. For others, he became the face of something far darker, a symbol of the Highland Clearances. A period when thousands of Highlanders were removed from their homes, their communities broken apart, and their way of life changed forever. Even today, nearly 2 centuries after the monument was built, opinions remain deeply divided. Over the years, there have been repeated calls for the statue to be removed, while others argue it should remain as part of Scotland's history, however uncomfortable that history may be. And perhaps that's why this monument continues to provoke such strong emotions, because it isn't really about a statue, it's about memory. It's about how a nation chooses to remember its past. From up here, the views are spectacular. The Moray Firth stretches out to the east, while the hills and the glens of Sutherland roll away into the distance. It's a landscape that appears peaceful today, but hidden within it are countless stories. Stories of families who left, stories of families who stayed, and stories of people whose lives were changed forever by decisions made generations ago. As I continue north through this region, I'll begin to discover some of those stories for myself. It's got a little bit windy up here now, so I've got my mid layer on and I'm just going to grab a quick bite to eat, I think, just for the rest of the trail. So it only took me 45 minutes to get up, and that was with the filming, walking back and forward and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty steep, but I really surprised myself. I was absolutely fine, totally fine. So this is looking good. You know, I know it's not a long sort of push up the hill, 45 minutes or so, but I did it with ease. And you know, I have lost around about a stone to a stone and a half since setting off on this road trip in January, and that's without any hiking and stuff like that. So I reckon if I can keep on getting more hikes in now that I'm in the Highlands as I make my way around, my fitness levels will really improve. And that having that weight, you know, essentially you're not carrying it anymore, you know. So I think it has made a huge difference, definitely, to my comfort levels. But it's a beautiful view you've got here, it really is. You've got the Lighthouse, Tarbet, Ness, there, that Tarbet Peninsula, and then way round at the other side, you'll have the, well, that'll be the Moray Coast, won't it? The Moray Coast, the Aberdeenshire coast away down there. But I'm looking forward to the rest of the hike now as well. But if you want to come up here and go straight back down, like I said, 45 minutes up, it'll be even less going back down. But I would definitely recommend trekking poles going down. It was pretty steep, and they take about 60% of the weight off your knees when you use them. I can't hike without them now. I use one going up and 2 going down usually. And they've definitely changed my hiking experience for sure. Time to get some food anyway. I wanted to sort of, you know, see how I felt once I was up here at this monument. There has been calls to sort of tear it down and get rid of it and things like that. But for me, it's the same principle with regards to like different statues that we have in cities and things like that. They might be controversial now, but they're a part of our history, whether we like it or we don't. And I think it's important to keep those statues and those monuments to remind us about the past, particularly when we're on the wrong side of history. And ultimately they're a reminder and they're a lesson to us now and in the future for certain things to never happen again. And the Highland Clearances is one of those things. Right, now I'm not sure how long I've been walking for since the top. I am doing the loop trail from the Walk Highlands website, And if anyone's interested in looking at it, I'll put the link in the description of this video. But I use Walk Highlands for everything. Their descriptions are really good. Plus you can download the maps and use them offline via their app. So you can always refer to the map and see where you are with like the boot on the screen that you see on your phone. You don't need a signal, obviously, if it's downloaded. Plus you can download the GPX files as well. And that's what I do and connect it to my Garmin Connect. And then I get the map on my watch. That's what I use for navigation, generally speaking, but I can refer back to the actual description on the Walk Highlands app if I come to like forks in the trail and things like that. And I've come to one here. The quickest way back to Golspiel on this loop trail is actually down that way. But we're carrying straight on here. We're taking a bit of a longer route, and we're going to be basically joining on to one of the mountain biking trails to the Big Burn Link Trail. Like I said, I'll put the link in the description for the Walk Highlands route. I just want to do the Gorge walk. It's meant to be brilliant. There's multiple bridges to cross in the Gorge and stuff like that, and it is getting a little bit later now because I've taken my time, but I don't want to miss out. Seeing as I'm here, I may as well just do the full circular. Right now I've done, let's have a look at my watch. Right now, so far, I've done 6 kilometres, so it's about 4 miles, and I've got the same again left. So that gives you an idea of the sort of length of it compared to just going up and down if you want to go and see the monument. But it's a beautiful night, so why not? Let's go and check this gorge out. This is such a bonny walk. I'm so glad I decided to come back this way and do the full loop instead of just going up and down, especially starting so late in the day and feeling a little bit tired when I set off. I'm really glad I decided, no, fuck it, I'm doing this whilst I'm here, you know. I'm not passing up this opportunity. But after getting up to the Manny, I was feeling pretty good and decided, no, let's carry on. I'm really glad I did now. Awesome. Another bridge. I mean, look at this. This is like, look at that. I need some copyright-free Lord of the Rings music. It started to rain. Perfect timing. Oh, that is ideal. Oh, what a hike. But not finished for the day, because I want to go and see Cairn, Liath, Broch before, as I head up to Brora. I'm just going to head a little bit further up the coast, and that's where I'm going to get parked for the night. It's pretty late now. Time is it? It's like 8:30. So I'll go and see Cairn Broch if this rain subsides. I'm not going to go out in it if it's absolutely teeming it down, but if it subsides, which I think it might, then I'll go and check it out and then head to Brora, get parked up for the night. I'm pretty tired. See you in some day though.
Long before castles dominated the Highlands, structures like Carn Broch watched over this landscape. It was built almost 2,000 years ago during Scotland's Iron Age, making it far older than anything else I visited in this episode. Nobody knows exactly what life was like here, but these thick stone walls once sheltered a community looking out across the same coastline we see today. You see, people have been living, working and raising families in this corner of Scotland for countless generations. So this is Brora. Dragon Chinese takeaway. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds pretty tempting. I can't be bothered cooking the night. Well, this is a nice wee park up. There's quite a lot of space for motorhomes and camper vans. Little honesty box to go towards the Brora community as well. Thanks very much for providing these facilities. Ideal, and look at that, right next to a lovely river. I could honestly just sit here and look at that view and listen to that running water from the river for hours. It's already making me sleepy. And I've only been doing it 5 minutes. But I'm gonna get myself to bed. I'm shattered. And tomorrow I've got a busy day again. I'm really looking forward to it though. And I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, folks. If you have, please remember to like, leave a comment. Feel free to share it with friends and family, you know, once this episode's finished. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. It is completely free. Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna get myself to bed. Oh, what a stunning wee spot this is. It's a great wee park up. To wake up to this, just birds singing, the river running, could hear it during the night as well. Oh, it was just stunning, nice quiet night. Perfect way to wake up. If there was a wee deep pool down there, I think I might even chuck myself in for a wee dip, but it doesn't look like there is. Maybe one further up or something, but I'm not gonna go and investigate. Yeah, I'm gonna have my coffee. Gonna do a little bit of organising of footage this morning for an hour or so, because I didn't do it last night. I need to get all my footage I shot yesterday organised. That'll take about an hour. And then we're only like 3 minutes away from the Highland Wildlife Rescue facility, so a nice gentle start to the day. Peaceful. And it's well needed. I checked my watch, I get my morning report every single morning. 8 hours, 1 minute sleep. And my training readiness today is 1 out of 100. I think my body battery is only sitting now, after being up for like 10 minutes, 42 out of 100. So my watch is definitely trying to tell me something, and that is maybe rest a little bit. But not just now. I've got people to meet, stuff to see, things to do, places to film and experience for myself as well. Many for the first time ever. Even though I've been on this route around the north coast a number of times, there's a lot of things I've not seen. I've never taken the amount of time I'm going to take to do it than I have for this series. I'm going to really take my time. I'm just going to take this in for a wee bit longer before I get started. Well, hey folks, I did promise you that I was going to be coming somewhere very special today, and I'm here with Jane, the manager at Highland Wildlife Rescue, and I really wanted to make this stop to talk about the really important work that goes on here and what they do for the local wildlife in this area. So Jane, lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
No, thank you very much for taking the time to see me. I just have a very simple question for you. Just tell us a little bit more about what Highland Wildlife Rescue do.
So we've got a little strap line of nurturing Highland wildlife one patient at a time. So we are a licensed all species wildlife rearing and rehabilitation centre.
Right, okay.
So for example, you're on your travels and you're having a lovely beach walk and you find a poorly puffin on the sand, beached, it's lost its waterproofing, it's in trouble. If you're in the Highlands or the islands, pick up the phone, you talk to us. We can give advice, we can take the patient in, we can triage the patient to work out what's going on, we can provide care, medication, we've got brilliant vet backup, and our mission is to get that animal back to full health and then get it back out to the wild. So it's a second chance opportunity.
Oh, fantastic. And what sort of areas as a whole do you tend to cover then? Because the Highlands is a big area.
So the whole of the Highlands.
What?
And the islands.
Wow, right, okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, so the whole Highland Council, basically district authority then, which is bigger than Belgium, by the way.
So we service an area bigger than Belgium.
Wow.
Yeah. So for example, we've a hedgehog in our hospital at the moment that came over on the ferry from the Isle of Lewis, found by a concerned member of the public, went to the vets, and then they arranged to pop it onto the ferry and it comes over to us. So there's some special rules about invasive species, so non-natural species. On the islands there shouldn't be any hedgehogs. So as an example, a hedgehog that's picked up on the islands that's in trouble, sick, injured, ill, that needs care, needs to come over to the mainland, and then we get it better, and then we find a wildlife friendly, suitable garden for it to be released into, and that happens. But yeah, we have patients that come from all over the place. Right. So we've got a really big network of amazing volunteers who help out with transport. So we've got a relay on the go at the moment with a tiny injured hoglet, baby hedgehog. It's in Bewley at the moment. So one of our great volunteers has picked it up from Bewley to take it to Eventon. And the next person meets them in Eventon to take it to Tain, and the next person takes it from Tain to us. So it's a huge network, and we have had quite a big impact from some recent changes at the Scottish SPCA, whose services north of Inverness are considerably reduced to almost nothing in terms of wildlife.
Oh, really?
So things are about to get even busier than they were.
Wow. Right, okay. And how many of you are actually here on site then?
On site, me.
Yeah.
Plus Kirsten, who's our centre coordinator part-time, and then some volunteers.
Wow. And are the volunteers all from this sort of local area around Brora then? Or they come from
we've
afar?
got volunteers that come down from Caithness. We've got a volunteer that comes up every alternate Friday from Aviemore.
Wow, right, okay.
All over the place. Amazing people, really committed to high standards of care for wildlife that's in trouble, that want to support what we're doing. They give up their time, their fuel to come here and to help out, and they just get stuck into all kinds of jobs.
Right.
A lot of the jobs involve poop.
Clean up.
It's not
From the
quite.
enclosures.
It's not quite as glamorous as people think. There's less stroking baby owls and more cleaning poop. So
Right,
yeah,
okay.
it's not the most glamorous work, but boy, when we get it right, it's amazing.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, it is really vital work that you do here as well. And the thing is, we had a little chat off camera there, and we're talking about veterinary practices and things like that. Obviously, you'll have a lot of support from them too. But wildlife's very different from, you know, domesticated animals, which is what probably I would assume 95% of their work actually entails. So there must be some sort of challenges around that kind of thing as well.
Yeah. We're big on collaboration.
Yeah.
So we want to pull in resources, whether that be knowledge, skills, expertise from anybody in the sector that can enhance what we're doing. It's really, really important. You can't operate, even as a licensed facility, as a little island of help for wildlife. You need outreach to lots of different people and expertise. So, for example, you get your first roe deer fawns in this year, which is what we got, your first pine marten kits that we got, and we need to reach out to people that have more expertise than us, and that includes the vets who can provide things like initial triage, maybe some x-rays, some medication, but vets don't receive an awful lot of wildlife training. So that's when the collaboration comes in. They can provide part of the help, and we can provide, you know, the knowledge that we've amassed over the last few years, so that together we can get the best solution for the wildlife. But the vet support is hugely important.
You just mentioned the last few years. My next question was going to be, how long has Highland Wildlife Rescue actually been?
So we just opened our doors officially as Highland Wildlife Rescue on the 1st of January 2023. So this is year 4 for us.
Brilliant.
But historically I was working with bats and birds and for a few years before that. So, but Highland Wildlife itself, just year 4.
Okay. Wow. And obviously this will be a charitable organisation, is it?
Absolutely.
Non-for-profit. So where does the sort of funding come from for this type of thing? I mean, that must be quite a challenge
It's a huge
these days
challenge.
as well.
So we're a charity for 2 reasons. One, because it gives us a governance and a framework, a regulatory framework to work within, so people can have trust and can rely on the fact that we're doing things properly. And secondly, because for fundraising, it is helpful for people to know that we operate in an appropriate way with our finances and our funding, and we've got treasurer oversight.
Right, okay.
We've got a patient arrival.
Oh, is this?
Yes, this is Jackie arriving with the critical
the
hoglet. So
right. Okay.
back for round 2.
Yeah, yeah, let's do that. Tiny.
That patient is uninjured, so can go into the carrier on top of the... So this little one was picked up by a dog, and the dog had already killed 2 siblings and had mauled the mum. And this is the survivor that's come in via one of our vet partners.
My God, look how small.
So this is a really good trick. Disposable gloves filled with hot water, providing some warmth during transport. So that umbilical has only just...
Oh, God, yeah.
So we've got some bruising in the abdomen. We've got all 4 limbs working. You can see that there are almost no visible eyes or ears. Sorry. So the reason why this little one is squirming around is because what he's doing is he's searching for mum's teat.
Yeah.
It is a little boy. Little mammals have fairly obvious genitalia, so there's a little penis there. Yeah. So what we can see is this is just a little tiny hoglet. We're talking a couple of days old.
Wow.
Maybe 2 days old, but not very far off newborn. Ears sealed shut, eyes sealed shut, and those don't open until day 14. So the first thing we're going to do is take an initial intake weight. £27 grams. And then behind you, I've got a little setup here, which is there's a heat mat under there that's already on. So what we're going to do for now, just while we heat up some fluids, is just pop little one in here, nice and cosy. So that to stay nice and warm until we get some oral rehydration fluids warmed,
yeah,
which will just take a couple of minutes. So we know that the little one's already had a little bit of subcutaneous fluids at the vet's practice. So now what we move to is oral rehydration to try and get a little bit of fluids that have got some electrolytes in, just to help the digestive system to start moving before we think about introducing any replacement milk formula.
Okay. Well, I've just stepped outside just to let Jane and Kirsten do what they do, give them a little bit of space. The animals obviously take priority here, the ones that are here on site. There are some in these enclosures as well, but they are quite sensitive, so can't really get too close. They're a bit noise sensitive. So yeah, I've just stepped out just to give them a little bit of space to do the thing that took me a bit, caught me off guard a little bit. I feel quite emotional now, seeing that wee hoglet. Hi, there's an owl coming in just now as well. God, it's all go here.
So this is the smallest hoglet that we've taken in at 27 grams. At the moment this is just oral rehydration fluids, but we'll move to a replacement milk formula with all of the things that this little one needs to have a good start in life, or certainly a better second start in life.
Yeah.
2 hourly feed schedule.
Every 2 hours?
Every 2 hours.
Over?
Without fail.
What, over 24 hours?
For the first few days, absolutely, because these little ones nurse from mum on a pretty much an ongoing basis. She just takes a little break for wandering out to get some food for herself, and otherwise they'll just be in the nest suckling on and off as they need to, as they want to. So we put them onto a feeding schedule, but every 2 hours means that they'll get the nutrition, the amount of fluids that he needs.
Wow.
So yeah, for the first few days it will absolutely be 24 hours a day. But that's what it's going to take to give him a second chance, so that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that little one come from?
Highland Health Vets in Bewley.
I'm going to leave them to it. I don't want to interfere or be a pain. I'm just going to get one little last sort of chat with Jane, just to sort of conclude this. I just want to let them get on with their work. I don't want to be a distraction in any way. Hey folks, well I did say I was just going to step away there, and I did, to leave Jane and sort of Kirsten to it. An owl came in there.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about
So it was a young tawny owlet that a lady had reported seeing while she was out with her dog this morning, injured. She was happy to uplift it and bring it in. During the triage we saw quite serious injuries to the left side of the head. So the eye was impacted, there was quite a lot of swelling. The beak was displaced, so something going on with the mechanics of the jaw. Very, very thin, poor body condition, but the extent of the injuries, that poor bird would have been in quite considerable pain, and potentially for a prolonged period, judging by how old the injuries look to be. So sometimes we don't get to fix them and put them back out to the wild. Sometimes we have to do the right thing, which is to euthanise on welfare grounds. And yeah, it's a bit of a roller coaster some days.
Yeah, well, you're going from, you know, the little hoglet, and then to something like that, and then you don't know what's going to come next either, do you?
No idea. I'll let you know when the phone rings.
It must take quite a lot to sort of process these things and stuff, because I've only been here for half an hour. I've gone through an emotional roller coaster myself already, you know.
So I'd like to take a bit of time out at the end of the day to have a bit of a quiet reflection on what the day has presented, the opportunities to help some of these creatures have a chance. But also, I think it's really important, and it's something in our sector that isn't talked about a lot, euthanasia, and having the opportunity and the responsibility to provide a gentle end for an animal that's in pain and suffering. So there is an emotional toll to that, obviously, for the people that are involved, but it's a privilege to be in a position where you can make sure that some of these animals that would otherwise be suffering if they were left
potentially a very, very long time. Yeah. And we talked a little bit about funding earlier, so I wanted just to dig a little bit more into that and how that actually is. I mean, does it come from the Scottish Government? Does it come from, you know, those sort of larger organisations that you mentioned before? How does it all work?
It comes from members of the public.
Right.
It comes from people who donate, people who send supplies, people who run their own events and then decide to support us. None of it comes from central funding. There is no, we're one of 4 main wildlife intake centres for Scotland. The Scottish SPCA have had to cut their services because of funding, and we understand that because there are limitations. You can only provide your services if you have the funding, and there's a responsibility to make sure that we don't take patients in if we don't have sufficient funds to provide the right medication, the right vet attention, food, enclosures,
electricity, just everything.
But yeah, keeping the lights on. So all of our funding comes from members of the public. We've recently received a grant from Kilbrowell Wind Farm, who have provided us with sufficient funds to buy our rescue van.
Wow, right, okay.
But that's the exception. Every other penny that comes in has come from Mr. or Mrs. Public choosing to support what we do.
Wow, right, okay. And how? If anyone's watching this, I mean, because I would quite like to leave a donation.
Thank you.
If anyone that's watching this wants to do the same, how would they go about doing it?
So I can give you a link. We have a couple of ways that people can donate, but the People's fundraising platform is probably the easiest. People can, if they want to, they can choose to support us on a monthly basis with, doesn't matter how small the donation is, you know, regular monthly donation has a huge impact. And that's something that this year we're going to have to work on, because knowing that a certain amount of money is coming in each month to keep the lights on, the doors open, the medication paid for and the food paid for, that's a huge help to us. But yeah, we can provide you a link.
Well, what I'll do, folks, as well, is I'll put that link in the description of this video, so you'll have a direct link to it there.
Thank you.
I think that's the easiest way for me to do that, but I will definitely be leaving a donation.
Thank you.
It's had
it's not a small bird, is it? We've got enough of those.
No, definitely not.
Have a small bird as my donation.
Well, listen, no, honestly, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
No, it's been a pleasure, and all the very best with it.
Thank you.
Well, that was quite something. I got a little bit more than I sort of bargained for before going here today. It's quite emotional. There was things I couldn't film on camera as well. The main room where a lot of their animals were, I think I counted 9 different owls, multiple different types of birds, starlings and various others. I think there was some small ducks and 2 baby foxes. in this really small room. It's incredible the work that they're doing with such limited facilities. It's quite emotional, and I need to stress, folks, that it's not a visitor centre. They're not looking for people to come and visit. They don't offer that. There was quite strict protocols when I arrived today. These animals are wild, and many of them gravely injured, as you've heard, or going through rehabilitation. So human interaction, the only human interaction that they will have, is critical to their lives or their rehabilitation, and that's done by Kirsten and Jane and the other volunteers that help out. It's not a visitor centre, it's not a petting zoo or anything of that nature, so I just wanted to make that absolutely clear. It's not somewhere you can just drive up and come and visit. That's really important. You're literally endangering those animals' lives by doing so. But yeah, I'm taken back by it. I'm gonna send them a donation just now, and hopefully some of you watching will do the same using the link that I've put in the description. They need all the help they can get, as you've heard. So yeah, next up I'm going to drive up the coast a little bit to Helmsdale. I'm going to grab a coffee and just try and decompress myself, and get my mindset changed and get back into what I'm doing for the rest of the day. I've got quite a lot planned, making my way up to Dunbeath. Well, it's a bonny wee harbour here, and I've just seen the sign back there. You can stay overnight. Just says please think about putting a donation into the box on the RNLI lifeboat. All donations will go to a lifeboat in Wick, which is really nice. Nice wee touch. That is such a nice wee quiet peaceful place, Helmsdale. I've always enjoyed visiting here. The wee harbour here. And this is the lifeboat here where you donate. There's a little donation box there if you're staying the night. It's a bonny wee walk along this harbour. It was the perfect way to decompress after this morning at the Highland Wildlife Rescue. But I didn't come to Helmsdale today to park up and stay overnight. I came here to see a monument, and that's where I'm heading right now. Standing above Helmsdale Harbour is the Emigrants Monument, a tribute to the thousands of Highland men, women and children whose lives were changed forever during the Highland Clearances. By the early 1800s, many families had already been forced from the inland glens of Sutherland. Some were relocated to small crofting communities along the coast, but for others there was only one realistic option: to leave. Ships carried Highland families across the Atlantic and beyond, bound for Canada, the US, Australia and New Zealand, many departing not knowing if they would ever see Scotland again. The descendants of those emigrants number in the millions. In fact, there are now more people living with Scottish ancestry overseas than there are people living in Scotland itself. 6 times as many with true Highland descent living in North America alone. Looking out across Helmsdale Harbour today, it's difficult to imagine the heartbreak, uncertainty and courage those journeys must have required. Yet the story of the Highlands isn't only written here in Scotland, it's written wherever those families eventually called home. And as I continue further north today, I'll discover that not everyone boarded a ship. Some families face a very different future here on the coast of Sutherland. Few stretches of this coastline have stopped me in my tracks quite like this. Towering cliffs plunge into the North Sea below, while mile after mile of rugged coastline disappears into the distance. It's wild, dramatic, and undeniably beautiful. But hidden amongst this landscape is one of the most powerful stories I've encountered anywhere on this journey. This is Badbea. After being cleared from the fertile inland glens, families were resettled here on this exposed stretch of coastline overlooking the sea. On paper, it may have seemed like a solution. In reality, it was a struggle for survival. The land was poor, the ground rocky, and the weather relentless. Strong winds regularly swept in from the sea, making even the simplest daily task difficult. According to local accounts, ropes were stretched between houses to help people find their way during storms and to stop them being blown towards the cliffs. Imagine leaving behind a glen where your family had lived for generations, only to find yourself trying to carve a living out here. Many couldn't endure it. Some eventually emigrated overseas, others moved elsewhere in Scotland in search of a better life. Yet despite the hardships, a community survived here for decades. Children were raised here, families were formed here, lives were built here. Today, all that remains are the outlines of old crofts scattered across the hillside, slowly being reclaimed by the land. One family from Badbea would eventually make a new life for themselves in New Zealand. Others left for Canada, America, Australia, and other countries, carrying with them memories of a place many would never see again. It's difficult not to reflect on the resilience of the people who once called this place home, because if Dunrobin tells the story of power and Helmsdale tells the story of departure, then Badbea tells the story of what happened to some of those left behind. Yeah. Well, it's a funny thing, I've driven through a lot of these places before, that make up part of the Highland Clearances trail, and I've never taken the time to stop and actually really appreciate these things. I suppose the same could be said for the Pictish Trail and Tarbet and and East Weems in the caves in Fife, and learning more about the sort of Picts and what we know along this road trip. But this is another part of history that I'm learning as I go here about the Highland Clearances. Obviously I know what they are, I've read up about them a little bit, but I've never actually visited a lot of the places up this way where it really affected large populations of Highlanders. Even yesterday, going to see Dunrobin Castle, but obviously learning more about the history of it, and then going up to see the Manny on the hill. It makes you sort of think a bit more deeply about these things. And then of course I do the loop trail and go through that beautiful gorge, and I felt like I was in a Lord of the Rings movie or something. Dornoch, milk and honey, the cake, the chai latte, the beach. This last few days has just been like some Scotland up. You can be, it can make you frown, it can make you greet, it can make you sad, it can make you happy, it can make you smile, it can make you laugh. The country is just so full of character, just like its people. Okay, next stop is where I'm going to be parking up for the night at Dunbeath Harbour. It's about 15 minutes or so from here, so not too far. By the time I get there, it'll just be after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so a nice shorter day today, and really hoping to pick up some delicious seafood and I'm really hoping I have my dinner at the food truck at the harbour there called Tasty Toes and Shellfish to Go. Well, this is it. Well, they've got lobster rolls. That'll do me nicely.
I that's where you were heading.
I did. I've been told by multiple people I have to come here.
Right, okay.
You wouldn't? Can I get 2 tenors
Yeah,
for that?
no
Is that all
bother.
right? It's just because I'll put a tenner in there
That's fine.
for the parking.
That's not a problem.
That's
There
grand.
you
Thank
go.
you.
No problem. Yeah,
Grand.
it's quite nice where they're doing as well, depending what, you know.
Grand. I'll do that. I'll go and check that out.
Yeah, have a look, see.
Oh. Oh, yes. That'll do me nicely. Brioche bun, lobster, promary sauce. For a seafood lover, what more do you want? It is now 5 o'clock, finishing at a normal time today, which is nice. I'll get all this footage organised, start editing, and just relax tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. And listen, I really hope you've enjoyed watching this episode of taking you through a whole mix and range of different sort of things here on the East Coast. Kind of finishing off a bit of Easter Ross, going into Sutherland, now into Caithness. It's been quite a journey, a roller coaster of emotions throughout it all. Some amazing sights, some history along the way. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks very much. I'll see you next week. Like and subscribe for more van life adventures.